In a letter to President Ranil Wickremesinghe in his capacity as Finance Minister, the Exim Bank of China, responsible for much of the loans given to Sri Lanka, said the 2-year moratorium will be a short-term suspension of the debts owed to China, while asking all Sri Lanka's creditors to get together to work out medium-term and long-term commitments. According to the Sunday Times, the letter also extends China's support to the IMF Extended Fund Facility and requests the IMF to go ahead with the discussions on debt restructuring that will lead to an IMF program. Is this assurance by China final or negotiable?
Of course, we don't know whether we have to negotiate a little further or this is the final sort of negotiation. We can only comment on that when we see the final draft of the letter. At the same time, we have to come to some level of consensus through negotiations and agreement, mutual agreement.
Is a 2-year debt moratorium sufficient?
It all depends on the IMF's debt sustainability assessment. If the economy is contracting this year also by 3%, we will pretty much have about 1 year to recover the economy and start repaying the debt. So that would be the challenge, but we have to wait for IMF's debt sustainability analysis and their forecasting.
How will this assurance from China affect other creditors?
So in this case, definitely it is going to affect the bilateral creditors and private creditors. We need to understand in a debt restructuring context, there is also a geopolitical sensitivity here, because generally IMF, there is a strong membership from the US and the Western countries bloc. Of course, we know the relationship between China and US, United States, is also not very strong as we speak. So generally, when the US brings certain concerns forward, of course there's some level of reluctance from China. So we have to consider that as well. But I think in this context, everyone agreeing and providing that their commitment for Sri Lanka's debt restructuring is a positive sign.
According to government data as of December, Sri Lanka has about 50 billion in foreign currency debt, of which about 10 billion is mainly split between China, Japan and India. According to the Sunday Times report, the letter giving China's assurances arrived on the eve of a Paris Club meeting of Sri Lanka's creditors scheduled for next week, where Sri Lanka's debt restructuring measures are to be discussed as a prelude to the $2.9 billion IMF program to bail out Sri Lanka from its current economic crisis. Meanwhile, India provided much-needed assurances on Sri Lanka's IMF bailout package during the recent visit of Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to Sri Lanka. In a tweet, Dr. S. Jaishankar said that India stands with Sri Lanka.